What a thrilling finish between Kentucky and West Virginia. Another spot in the Sweet 16 on the line in Nashville. Kim Adams, Jay Alter with you. Michaela Blake's the nation's leading scorer. Misfires from three. Plenty of stars in this game, though. Illinois, the youngest team in the NCAA tournament field, and they are playing fearlessly. Two freshmen, two sophomores on the court right now for the Fighting Illini.
Yeah, Illinois has had a strong defensive start. Michaela Blake's the leading scorer in the country, yet to score in this game.
Ciara Parchment, one of the freshmen, goes to work, hangs on the rim, and just drops off of it. Here's Michaela Blake's all eyes on number one. SEC Player of the Year. Goes into traffic and draws a hard foul.
Michaela Blake so efficient at getting downhill to that right side, comes off the screen. Earlier in the game, Illinois had done a better job of cutting her off, but this time the help comes in a little bit too late. And Michaela Blake will head to the free throw line, where she is top 5 in the country in free throws made this season. 198 coming into these two.
Well, Michaela Blake's is already considered a program changer here at Vanderbilt. A win tonight to get to the first Sweet 16 since 2009 for this program. Her legacy would grow even more. It has been a record-setting season. Blake's already in rarefied air for points scored. Just a sophomore.
And she went for 30 here in the first round.
Blake strips down the rebound. In attack mode. Told us yesterday she looks to hunt easy buckets early. Handing it off this time. Washington in a tussle. Jump ball called. Well, if you're watching us on ESPNU, switch over to ESPN2. That's where we will be for the rest of the day. Just getting started between Vanderbilt and Illinois. Second weekend of the NCAA tournament. 1998 for Illinois, 2009 for Vanderbilt. The two-seeded Commodores led by Michaela Blake. We mentioned it a moment ago, but most points in first two seasons. Look at that company. Michaela Blake's right on the heels of Cheryl Swoops and Caitlin Clark.
I mean, this really puts into perspective what a generational talent, as her own head coach, Shea Ralph, called her, that we are witnessing. If you're a little bit late to the Michaela Blake show, you've got plenty of time. You're tuning in at the right time, because she is only a sophomore. Hit her 1,000th career point in 42 games. Not just the fastest in Vanderbilt history, the fastest in the SEC since the SEC became an NCAA affiliated league.
But it's not just the Michaela Blake show. You look at the Who's on the Floor presented by Capital One. This is a well-rounded group for Shea Ralph and this Commodores team. And right on cue, Sasha Washington earns her first basket of the night. And for Illinois, very young group, the youngest team in the 60-18 tournament field. But they have played unafraid. Two freshmen, two sophomores on the floor right now for the Fighting Illini. One of them, the freshman Destiny Jackson, got the offensive rebound. Misfires the shot. Another offensive rebound, rejected. Washington says no.
Shea Ralph wasn't pleased, though, with that offensive rebound. She's going right to the bench. Someone's coming out after they did not block out on that attempt.
Number 3 in white, Aubrey Galvin, the SEC Freshman of the Year, has it here. Guarded by Destiny Jackson. That is a matchup to watch tonight. Two really talented freshman point guards.
Sasha Washington, such an instrumental part of this team. The fifth-year Commodore. She scored on one end. She gets a big block on this end. She had a big game in the first round. A 17-rebound double-double.
Blake's pull-up pop. Got it. Michaela Blake's first basket of the night. Certainly not her last for the nation's leading scorer.
Yeah, it took some time to get her going a little bit. Credit to Illinois. They've been defending her tightly, going over screens. So Michaela Blake's may just have to feel out this defense a little bit.
Wallace lines up the three, off the mark. Another offensive rebound. Can they cash in? Rolls off the rim, no good. And the Illini are dominating the glass, but they've got nothing to show for it. Another opportunity here. Illinois has missed their last 11 shots as Destiny Jackson goes to the line to shoot two.
Michaela Blakes, the nation's leading scorer. She rejects the screen, takes it to the right, and just gets that defender to fall back. And then this is one that we are watching. Destiny Jackson, Big Ten all-freshman team, had a double-double in the first round, was on triple-double watch, 16 points, 11 rebounds from the 5'6" guard.
That did it all in that win against Colorado, and just one assist away from setting the single-season assist record at Illinois. And you got to give the Fighting Illini some credit. Despite shooting 3 of 16 to start this game, they're only down 4.
Yeah, and they have defended well. As we just saw, it took Michaela Blades almost 7 minutes to get her first field goal to drop, and then they have been active on the offensive glass.
Blake scoop to the hoop for 2. Back-to-back baskets for Michaela Blakes.
She ended up on the floor. She put her hands up like, ref, where was that N1 for me? Somehow she ended up down on the baseline.
Jackson lost the handle. Turnover.
Vanderbilt bench up and clapping now. A little more intensity on that defensive possession. Let's see if Blakes had a case for the foul. And Parchment kind of fell on her after the attempt. But she is so good at turning that corner, finishing around the rim, taking contact.
Galvin this time, off the mark. Second chance opportunity for Blakes and Vanderbilt. Passat lines up the triple. No good. Another offensive rebound. There's more offensive rebounds in this opening quarter than defensive rebounds. And Vandy cashes it in for 2 thanks to their SEC Freshman of the Year, Aubrey Galvin.
High degree of difficulty for Galvin. We've talked about Jackson on one end. Those two played each other in high school basketball in Chicago last year.
Parchment steps out for 3. Missed it. Vanderbilt stealing the momentum at the end of this first quarter. They've scored on every possession since the immediate timeout. Passat drills the 3.
And she is fired up, Jay Alter. She didn't have a huge scoring night in the first round. She is a big piece to what Vanderbilt's looking to do.
Galvin takes it away, the steal, and the foul. A chance for Aubrey Galvin to extend this 7-0 Vanderbilt run.
Aubrey Galvin, ooh, she's got some flash to her game. The right to left cross, fading away. Nothing but the bottom of the net, and then Blake's out to Justine Passat, a 6'4" player who can stretch the floor. She makes almost 3 threes per game. She led the SEC in that category, knocking them down at 42% on the season.
Well, Galvin, the pride of Deerfield, Illinois, was overlooked in her recruiting. And Illini head coach Shauna Green told us yesterday, good for her. Because at 5'6", a lot of people thought probably too small to play at this level. Vanderbilt took a chance on her, and she has proven them absolutely correct as the SEC Freshman of the Year.
And credit to Shea Ralph for finding the hidden gem. She said, I don't care about lists, I don't care about size. Galvin, 5'6", has had a monster freshman season.
Now, Galvin's brother goes to Illinois. Her father went to Illinois, grew up in Illinois, and now trying to knock them out here in the second round. Vanderbilt on a 14-2 run. Passat, that was a heat check. Couldn't connect on it. Jackson trying to get something going. Illinois has missed their last 13 shots. That rim's off no good. Make it 14 misses in a row. The youngest team in the 68-team field trying to weather the storm on the road. Can they get a basket to finish this first quarter? No! Taken away! Blakes with 8 seconds to work with. Blakes double teamed. Missed it. Well, Vanderbilt doing
squared off in high school last year. I think it was a Destiny Jackson's team got the dub, but it's really incredible to see both of them have found such a perfect fit for the two of them. Both of them chose schools that are on the rise, and they have been in the starting lineup and made huge impacts in their first seasons.
Galvin has formed a great backcourt duo with Michaela Blakes. Justine Passat stays hot. 7 points for her early.
That already outdoes her numbers from the first round against High Point. She only had 6 points. It was 2 of 4 from deep. She is aggressive early at 6'4".
And a rejection on the defensive end. Vanderbilt dialed in all over the floor. Galvin, transition 3. No good.
The length of Vanderbilt is really impacting Illinois on the interior. They're going to have to stretch things out a little bit. They can't make that one.
Well, free throws coming here for the Illini.
Yeah, this is a long Vanderbilt team on the perimeter, on the interior. That one was blocked by Ayanna Mitchell, who's 6'4". So you've got 6'4" Passat on the perimeter, 6'4" Mitchell.
So Illinois started this game making 3 of their first 5 shots. And Kim, since they have missed 16 in a row. Now, their last 3 points have come from free throws, and they're going to shoot another here because of a lane violation.
And I think they've been a little sped up by this high-pressure defense of Vanderbilt. They've been able to get a bunch of offensive rebounds, but not really converting. That was Letty Vasconcelos, who Coach Shauna Green putting her in the game for extended minutes for some size. She's 6'7".
Blake's tripped. Well, good start for Shea Ralph and this Commodores team, trying to get to the program's first Sweet 16 since 2009, when she took the job now in year number 5. This was the vision. Well, the dream is a reality. Playing here at Memorial Gymnasium, where they are 17-0 this season.
The success seems like it may have even come a little bit early. I mean, this Vanderbilt team is picked 8th in the preseason coaches poll. They finished tied for 2nd.
Blake's pull-up pop misfires. I don't know how anybody with any team with Michaela Blakes on it was picked 8th preseason.
And I don't think anyone had any clue how good Aubrey Galvin was going to be. Not a top 100 recruit, All-American. Now she's the freshman of the year in the SEC.
Weber fires a 3 and hits it. Illinois needed that. And the transfer from Villanova delivers. The Illini's first field goal in 8.5 minutes.
And I think they need to shoot the 3 ball well. They shot it exceptionally well in Big Ten play, 40%, but have not shot it well in the postseason. Maybe that could get them going a little bit.
Galvin, corner 3. Looking for that immediate answer. Can't connect. Offensive rebound keeps it alive. Galvin, great pass, picks out Brown. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Jada Brown.
How about that pass from Aubrey Galvin? She is fun to watch. She's got some flavor to her game. Just one hand passes that across the baseline into Jada Brown, who's a really solid 3-point shooter off the bench.
Weber lost the handle, keeps it alive, falls to Wallace. Another miss for the Illini, and they give it away. 2-on-1. Blakes and Galvin. Blakes takes it herself. Can't finish it at the rim. Wallace shooting herself hot. Illinois' leading scorer reigns in her first 3 of the night.
Illinois maybe starting to take a little bit of a deep breath. Barry Wallace, 18 points per game, had 18 in the first round. They need her to settle in.
Passat buries it. Justine Passat has taken over. She's got 10 to lead all scorers tonight.
Vanderbilt had 5 players in double figures in the first round win against High Point. Passat was not one of them, but she is big time in the mix here tonight.
Yeah, Michaela Blake's just 2 of 8 with 5 points. It's been Justine Passat leading the way. And she draws the foul there, so Vanderbilt ball.
Michaela Blake's doing a nice job of being unselfish, kicking out of double teams. Justine Passat has drained a couple so far, and then she makes the play on the defensive end as well. Her improvement from junior year to senior year, one of the best you'll see in the country. Averaged just about 3.5 points per game last season, 10 minutes per game. And now she is one of the best shooters in the SEC. She was the best.
Shea Ralph telling us she poured into the process instead of the portal. Blake's the floater. Drops.
She's having to work a little bit harder for the points tonight, but she can get them going in a hurry. Blake's averaged 30 a game in SEC play. That's just unbelievable.
Weber, no good. Offensive rebound, count it. Plus the foul. Vasconcelos at 6'7", in perfect position for the and one.
Offensive rebounds for Illinois have been a strength. This is their 11th. They weren't converting on them early, but Vasconcelos plays about 11 minutes per game. That number's probably going to be up tonight because of the size of Vanderbilt. That was a big-time impact play.
And for Illinois, you struggled to shoot in this first half. Can you use the remainder of this second quarter to cut into this deficit and head into the locker room with some momentum?
Yeah, I think the biggest change right now has to be not falling asleep on the other Commodore players on the floor with so much attention going to Blake's. Everyone else on the floor is a capable scorer. They have to be ready to read and react defensively.
Passat feeds it inside. Jakalenga, double team. Here's Michaela Blakes, the nation's leading scorer, loses the handle.
They get her to go left. I think she's a little more comfortable going to that right side. That time they took away her right.
Ten seconds to shoot. Weber trying to shake free. Wallace. Good hesitation, misfires the shot though.
The size of Vanderbilt was everywhere on that play. I mean, wingspan, 6'4" players everywhere you look.
Galvin draws the foul. And will go to the line to shoot two. Vanderbilt in control, trying to get to their first Sweet 16 since 2009, up 12.
Really, one of the coaches on the rise, as is Shea Ralph at Vanderbilt. Shauna Green, 3 straight 20-plus win seasons. And with them winning the first round the other night, that gave Illinois wins in back-to-back NCAA tournaments for the first time since they did it in 1999 and 2000.
Aubrey Galvin at the line to shoot two, the SEC Freshman of the Year. An Illinois native. Her brother goes to Illinois. Her father went to Illinois. Now trying to knock the Illini out here in the second round and keep her season alive.
And Shauna Green, she's already battling some adversity here. 3 of her starters already have 2 fouls in this game.
Jump ball the call. No physical first half. You mentioned the foul trouble the Illini find themselves in.
Yeah, Ciara Parchment, the freshman who had 21 in the first round, she's been sitting on the bench with the 2 fouls. Jasmine Brown-Hager, she was the primary defensive assignment for Michaela Blakes early. She's sidelined.
Yeah, Wallace and Parchment shot a combined 16 of 24 in the win against Colorado Saturday night. Tonight, just 3 of 14. Credit that Vanderbilt defense. Here's Wallace going to work. Connects on that one.
That time Illinois played with a little bit more space and composure offensively, allowing Barry Wallace some space to operate off of that screen at 6'1". Very skilled player with the ball in her hands.
Offensive foul. And Galvin thought she was on the receiving end and instead is whistled for it. We told you earlier that Galvin and Jackson have some history.
From the high school courts in Chicago to the big stage here in Nashville. I think Galvin just got another one. Same type of play. She did.
Well, Galvin and Jackson, if you missed it earlier, finished 1-2 in the Illinois Miss Basketball voting a year ago. And we talked about their their history, and both were pretty tight-lipped when it came to it.
Same position, same height, 5'6" point guards. That one I don't think was as clear as the one before, where Galvin really put two hands and shoved her a little bit. That one, I mean, it's hard to let something go when a player falls to the floor, but Galvin has to go to the bench. As we look at that controversial voting again. Galvin had one more first place vote, but didn't get the nod.
And Galvin's done a great job so far defending Jackson. Now with her out of the game, Jackson goes to work off the mark. And another foul as this game continues its physical first half. This one whistled against Illinois.
This is also another intangible that you don't see on the stat sheet for Michaela Blake. She has the ability to get teams into foul trouble because she moves so well off the ball. She drives so hard. As we mentioned, 3 Illinois starters already on the bench with 2 fouls. Well, Guyton's back in the game with 2, but 3 starters have 2 fouls.
And she is always moving. You know, during the Vanderbilt shoot-around yesterday, we were told that they track her, and she averages 4.6 miles covered over the course of a game. Now, the average for a WNBA player that wears the same technology, between 2.3 and 2.4. Double for Blake's.
That's insane, and her endurance is remarkable. And she did tell us yesterday when we talked to her, not only was she on the track team and growing up, she did cross-country as well, so that adds up.
Helps with your stamina. Illinois trying to cut it to single digits here at the end of the first half. 3 minutes left in it. Jackson trapped. And they say she dribbled out of bounds. The freshman disagrees with the call, urging Shauna Green for an appeal.
Vanderbilt loves the traps. You'll see it off of the full court press. You'll see it in the half court. It's a Vanderbilt team. A lot of talk about their offense, but they also force 20 turnovers per game, just completely boxing in the freshmen there with that sideline.
Here's Barry Wallace after the Jackalenga miss. Wallace looking to go coast to coast, called for the offensive foul.
Easy call there for the officiating crew. Jackalenga, Wenentanda, plenty of time to get her guarding position, and Barry Wallace trying to force things and completely extends that arm right into the chest of Wenentanda.
The Wallace playing with that mask ever since the broken nose she picked up in early February. Her teammates jokingly call her Batman. They're going to need her to be a superhero the rest of this game, trailing by 12. Sophomore leading scorer, been quiet in this first half. Only 5 points to her name.
Especially with Parchment on the bench. She's their second leading scorer.
Wallace, good look. Just can't get that finishing touch for a scorer who's been so reliable this season at over 18 points per game. Sasha Washington in her final game, win or lose at Memorial Gymnasium. Vandy's gone into a 2.5-minute scoring drought. The door is cracked here at the end of the first half for the Illini to steal some momentum headed into halftime. And another foul. Letty Vasconcelos will go to the line to shoot 2. She's made a great impact, usually a 6-player rotation. Vasconcelos has been the 7th, and that's been a good move for Illinois so far. Coming up at halftime, Degree in the studio. Christine Williamson and crew will have you covered on what was a wild start to the day here in the second round. Huge upset win for Virginia at Iowa.
How about
overtime
Virginia?
Thriller, and then Kentucky takes down West Virginia and Morgantown.
I think I heard our colleague Matt Schumacher, who was in Iowa City, saying that's the first time a team has gone from the first 4 to the Sweet 16. Virginia winning 3 games in 5 days.
An incredible accomplishment. And I think to do it as a road team, right, makes it even more impressive on the women's side compared to the men's, where you're a neutral site.
And not just to do it on the road, but to do it at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Yeah.
I've called a good amount of games there. That's as tough as a place to play as anywhere in the country. Illinois knows that well. They nearly took down the Hawkeyes on that floor this season.
Under a minute 30 left to this first half. Vanderbilt an 11-point advantage. Galvin pull-up pop. Missed it.
Galvin's got to be careful. Coach putting her back in the game with the 2 fouls.
Destiny Jackson calling for it, and she gets it. Only 2 points for the freshman. The blow by, and blocked from behind, an offensive foul called. Great defense from Vanderbilt.
I mean, this started off as an incredible move from Destiny Jackson. Michaela Blakes, a lot of talk about her as a scorer, but she gets her feet set before Destiny Jackson leaves the floor for her attempt. That's the rule for legal guarding position. What a play for Blakes.
Blakes, step back 3, got it!
Coach Shauna Green absolutely livid, calling for a moving screen. She was right in the face of the officials, chasing him down the sideline. They're chasing her.
Final possession of the first half after the Blakes 3. Wallace trying to answer, and she does. Passat does not get off the half-court heave.
They had 4 players with 2 fouls, a lot of early foul trouble for the Fighting Illini, so they've got their starters back in the game. They need to get Parchment and Jackson going, especially. Just 6 points for those 2 combined in the first half.
Passat, who had the hot hand in the first half, turns it over, was looking for Washington inside. Illinois started this game shooting 3 of 21, but they made 5 of their last 11 to finish that first half. The first 3 goes begging. NCAA Women's second round presented by Intuit TurboTax. Vanderbilt trying to protect his double-digit lead in the second half. Passat. Money. Justine Passat. Been red hot.
And she stays aggressive. Illinois took away Michaela Blakes on that entire possession, and patience from the Commodores to find an open teammate.
Guyton looking for that immediate answer. Too much on it. Blakes between the legs to Passat, who leads all scorers. And turnover on the travel. Michaela Blake's not just a scorer. She's got some style on her handle as well. Even though it didn't result into points. A crafty pass there.
You got to watch this through the leg. That would have been fire if Passat just stepped in and drained the 3, but she was a little far out from behind the arc.
I feel like you still have an obligation to put it up just on the off chance it goes. Blakes gets the rebound from her bottom. Doing it all to start the second half. Deep 3. Left it short. Now, Illinois is getting the stops they need on the defensive end. Now can they convert on the offensive end, where they have really struggled, shooting 22% from the floor.
Ciara Parchment down there on the block. She's the one there they need to get going. She had 21 in the first round. Battled a lot of foul trouble here in the first half.
Shot clock down to 7. Aaliyah Guyton in attack mode. Got a good look, couldn't finish it. Offensive rebound. That is the 13th offensive rebound for Illinois tonight. And they cash in with Parchment.
That's becoming a real area of concern for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt commanded the offensive glass in their first round win against High Point, and now they are just getting out-toughed on that end of the floor.
And another offensive foul. The turnovers piling up at the start of this third quarter. Illinois has the lead back down to 9.
And those were some of the plays that Illinois head coach Shauna Green, she was in the ear of the officials to close that first half about looking out for the moving screens that free up Michaela Blakes. And it looks like her conversation paid off there.
Risky pass, and that's a turnover. That freshman connection, Jackson and Parchment, which is usually on the money, off the mark there. Blake's the blow by, and the finish. Splits two on her way to the rim.
She's just incredible at turning corners, getting by a defender. Teams will put their best on-ball defender on her, and she still finds a way to maneuver around to get downhill to that right side. That has been Brown Hager. You see she gets Brown Hager to just open up the fit, and that's what she's able to get by the shoulder, get by the hip. Help defender tries to come over. She maneuvers right through. She gets so many of her buckets on that right-hand side.
Parchment rejected. Brown Hager flew in there and drew the foul. You know, Blake's the only SEC player this century to average over 30 points per game in league play. It's amazing she found basketball pretty late, but considered herself a dancer more than a basketball player until 8th grade. And she clearly found the right passion, dominating in the SEC and dominating this NCAA tournament for the 6th straight year. Every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Second round finishes tonight. The Sweet 16 resumes on Friday.
Illinois really starting to chip into this lead. Can they get the stops? Ooh, Blake's got the defender to fall back, but short.
Parchment through contact, gets it to go.
Flau'Jae saying, how is that not an offensive foul? There have been a lot of contact plays down at the rim in this game.
Blake's step back, this time drains it.
Jasmine Brown Hager is doing all she can, chasing Michaela Blake's around the floor, coming over the top of the screens, and Blake's reads it by curling, and then has gotten that step back a couple times now.
Wallace all alone at the free throw line. She'll make you pay.
Wallace has been their most consistent scorer all season long, the sophomore. All Big Ten first team, 18 a game.
And she's up to 10 tonight, playing with that mask for the last month and a half with a broken nose. Foul called, a block against Illinois. Wallace, the toughness to play through that broken nose. She did it in a practice day before they played Oregon. They were actually at Nike on Coach K court, so the mask came out. She played the next day. And Parchment checks out of this game with her third foul. Big loss for the Fighting Illini.
Yeah, we talked about it in the first half. Michaela Blake's can get a team into foul trouble.
Brown goes inside. It was well defended by Illinois. Stays Vanderbilt ball underneath their own hoop. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Handoff. Blake swings it. Deep three. It's good. Justine Passat drills another one from deep.
It's so important to Vanderbilt's success when Passat is looking for her shot and, of course, making them, because Michaela Blake's is running into double team. She's making the right reads to kick out, and tonight Passat is knocking them down.
Passat's third three. She leads all scorers with 15. Wallace battling. Count it, plus the foul for Barry Wallace. Oh, we were just talking about this game for the majority, but Barry Wallace and Illinois trying to stay within striking distance. Wallace, the leading scorer, started slow, missed her first 6 shots since. She's connected on 5 of her last 7. Wallace, 1 of 9, 4 brothers, 4 sisters. We talk about her toughness with the broken nose. That's where you get that toughness from, growing up in a big family like that. From Pickerington, Ohio. Couldn't complete the and one. Galvin fouled shooting 3, and that'll send the SEC Freshman of the Year to shoot 3 free throws, where she is just under 80% from the line.
This is a veteran move to draw the foul, to maybe act a little bit, be a little dramatic on the way down to get that whistle. There was certainly contact, and we've already talked about the relationship between those two. maybe the top 2 players in Illinois last season. And this foul trouble has just been a concern for the Fighting Illini all game long. They're a team that really only plays 6 or 7 deep. So to have 2 starters, and those 2 really led them in the first round, Parchman and Jackson.
Yeah, Shauna Green does not have a deep bench to turn to. And with your season on the line, trailing by 11, you probably have to gamble with the foul trouble and get those players back on the court sooner rather than later.
Yeah, there was a player there in street clothes that they wish could suit up. That's Gretchen Dolan, who was a starter for them for the first 17 games, was putting up about 13 points per game. Her season, unfortunately, came to an end for the 2nd season in a row, and that's Gretchen Dolan right there. Big piece, huge loss for Illinois to not have her for the later part of the regular season and, of course, the postseason.
The Dolan, a huge miss, out for the season, and they've weathered that storm. And when you lose a starter like that, it can railroad your season. Illinois actually played very well in the Big Ten tournament, found some confidence coming in to the NCAA tournament.
But still, Jay, despite all this, foul trouble, low shooting percentage, Illinois has cut this to a single-digit game. They haven't been able to get consistent stops on this end. Can that change?
Galvin says no way. Drains another 3.
She really got going in the second half of the first round game. We'll see if she has that similar thing in mind today. She's in the double figures.
Every time Illinois gets it within striking distance with the lead under 10, Vanderbilt has answered. Blakes fires a 3. Got it! Been around a lot of superstars. She won 7 national championships with UConn, 1 as a player, 6 as an assistant. And she puts her in that elite generational talent tier. It means something.
Yeah, and the words were spot on. We had the chance to have a nice conversation with Michaela yesterday, and she is the most humble kid, well-spoken, really cares about academics. And once again, she chose to go a different path. A McDonald's All-American, a top 10 recruit. She could have gone anywhere that was an already established program. She said she really wanted to come with Shea Ralph. She believed in her vision. She believed in the relationships that Shea Ralph was building with her. Wow, has it paid off in 2 years.
Blakes gets the rebound there. She does it all for this Vanderbilt team. The headline reads nation's leading scorer, but she does so much on the court, off the court. Passat drains another 3 off the assist from Blakes. It's a 9-0 Vanderbilt run.
That's a perfect example of the talent around Blakes. 4 double-digit scorers on this Vanderbilt team. Blakes gets 4 assists per game. She gets 3 steals per game. She's more than just a prolific scorer.
Passat's 4th 3 tonight. She has been a difference maker. Vanderbilt started ice cold from 3, 2 of 10. Since then, they've knocked down 7 of their last 9. As Parchman back in the game, playing with 3 fouls, ends the 9-0 run.
Yeah, it's been hard for Parchman to get into a rhythm because she's been in and out of the game with foul trouble, but Shauna Green knowing she needs her freshman back in the game, and she answers the call instantly.
Blakes fires again. She's heating up. Microwave Michaela, she can heat up in a hurry.
We heard it in the clip from Shea Ralph. We heard it from Michaela yesterday. She told us, I just do the easiest things I can to score. And that's simple reads, reading the defense, curling. That's what she did right there on that shot.
Blake's up to 20 points tonight. 10 have come in this 3rd quarter. Parchman loses the handle. Scramble for the ball. Possession arrow with Illinois.
Michaela Blakes, I mean, she keeps the ball alive there while falling. Dishes out to Justine Passat, who's having a huge night, up to 18 points. And then you see the defense is late, is under the screen, is behind the screen, and Michaela Blakes takes that shot. She makes about 3 threes per game at 36% on the season.
And now Vanderbilt has separated in this 3rd quarter. Another miss for Illinois. It'll stay Illini ball. Jada Brown let that go out of bounds when she could have grabbed it. Vanderbilt has made their last 5 shots, pulling away here with less than 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Braunhager, good take for 2.
Braunhager breaks up a 12-2 run for Vandy. Vandy got loose, got hot on this end of the floor. Can they lock back in defensively to take away some momentum?
Blakes got it again. Michaela Blakes has taken over.
Blake said, no chance. Let me shut the door right now. And again, just simple plays, simple reads. They've chased over screens. They've been behind screens. And she's taking what the defense is giving her. She's done it all season long.
Weber. Felt like Illinois needed that 3. They don't get it. All the momentum with Blakes and Vandy. That time off the mark.
I'm laughing at her reaction. Hey, I would have gone for that too. If I'm Michaela Blakes, leading scorer, got the hot hand, I'd be pulling up at any moment.
Always smiling. An incredible disposition. Feels like another day, another record. On Saturday night, she set the Vanderbilt single-season scoring record, which has stood since 1989-1990. This time, Blake's defending on the inside, and she did great.
How about the team defense? Not just Blake's, 3 different players surrounding Parchment, and they force another turnover for Illinois.
Shot clock is off at the end of this 3rd quarter. Blake's looking to add to this 19-point Vanderbilt lead. How about the shake? Rolls off the rim, everything but the finish. And that'll bring the 3rd quarter to a close.
That was too bad, Jay, because that was some filthy ball handling work from Michaela Blakes.
Vanderbilt in front, a comfortable 19-point to belief. And now that vision, that dream has turned into a reality here at Memorial Gymnasium, 10 minutes away from a trip to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I mean, what a tremendous coach. She obviously spent 13 years at her alma mater, UConn, alongside Gino Auriemma, Chris Daly, and she has just been so good. And I think we said this in the first half. I think the success has come a year or 2 early than people may have been tracking, because Vanderbilt was picked 8th in the SEC preseason poll.
Also the belief of Director of Athletics, Dr. Candace Story-Lee, who has engineered perhaps the greatest turnaround of any athletic department in the country. Women's basketball's turnaround, a big part of that, as Jakalenga connects on another easy 2. Dr. Lee played women's hoops here at Vanderbilt, was part of a 2002 SEC championship team, and wanted to bring them back to that level, and they have, with her and Shea Ralph leading the way. Perfect position for Barry Wallace to clean up the spill.
And when we visited with Michaela Blakes yesterday, Jackson on the steal.
And once again, Wallace.
We were revisiting Michaela Blake's decision to come here, and relationships with both Shea Ralph and Dr. Lee were 2 of the things that she mentioned right away.
Perfect bounce pass from Blakes, but Jakalenga cashes it again.
And Coach Ralph, also an excellent recruiter, the one who found Aubrey Galvin, who is not an All-American and not a top 100 recruit, and she develops her into the SEC Freshman of the Year.
Blakes takes it away. Weaves through, dishes it off again. Everything but the finish from Jakalenga. Fouls her own miss and still can't connect. Imagine, Kim, if you're Illinois, you know you only got 8 minutes to save your season. Trailing by 19, you've got to start firing quickly, might get more aggressive on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think the last few possessions you may have seen a little bit of fatigue settling in for this team that only plays 6 or 7 deep. How about Aubrey Galvin trying to go one-on-one with the 6'3" post player? Aubrey Galvin, 5'6", gets the switch. And the crowd wanted an offensive foul or maybe a travel. They don't get either. The crowd is booing, but another freshman, Ciara Parchment, heads to the free throw line.
Looked like it really was a travel.
Yeah, I mean, I think they may have missed a step or 2 there. Shout out to, again, Aubrey Galvin.
She's given up a mere foot in this battle.
Looks like she may have shuffled that pivot foot a little bit. Either way, I mean, that just shows the type of player that Aubrey Galvin is. And she's upset that she got called for that foul.
Parchment knocks them both down from the line. Illinois goes full court pressure. Barry Wallace ties up Galvin. Possession arrow with Illinois. And a foul called against the Illini off ball. Galvin right in the middle of it again.
Oh, yeah. She's getting her lick back with that one. She's in the mix. She is going to be fun to watch for years to come. The feistiness that she plays with.
Risky pass. Somehow stays alive. Passat kept it in play, and then Blake's lost the handle. Well, since Illinois has cranked up the pressure, Vanderbilt has committed a couple of turnovers here at the start of the fourth quarter. Got in, pull up, pop, missed it. Galvin there again for the rebound. She's been in the middle of everything. Another unnecessary pass that results in a turnover.
This is not what Shea Ralph wants to see. You want to be able to close out a game strong, not making careless mistakes on your end.
The Illini have failed to capitalize on it, though. Wallace goes in tough. Well defended.
Anna Mitchell, 6'4" junior, has had some big plays in this game, offensively and defensively, when she's come in off the bench.
Vanderbilt, they've committed 4 turnovers in the last 2 minutes, but Illinois failed to make them pay. Big block underneath. Parchment there.
This was a nice pass in from Galvin, but the freshman Parchment comes in from behind with the swat.
Passat feeds it inside. Jackalenga muscling it through. Illinois is doing what they need to defensively. Can they cash in on the offensive end? Jackson, good look, can't finish it. Blake's off and running. 2-on-1. Leaves it for Galvin.
They have made late in the season. There were a lot of question marks early. They were dropping out of the rankings. Hannah Hidalgo had an entirely new group around her, and they are coming into form at a scary time.
Weber a 3. One thing Illinois has done very well tonight is get offensive rebounds. 16 of them, but they just haven't capitalized for second chance points. Galvin, another steal. How good has she been tonight? Wide open 3. Passat has been terrific from deep. Missed that one, though. Connected on 4 threes. Wallace from the corner. That rattles in and out. And Galvin with the heads-up play to preserve possession.
What did Shea Ralph, how did she word it to us about Aubrey Galvin? She said she kind of can play Jedi mind tricks out there with opponents. I feel like we've seen a couple of those moments tonight.
Well, Blake's has done it all. 22 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. So triple-double watch in the final 5 minutes here. Hits the 3! Michaela Blakes! And with that 3, she sets the NCAA sophomore scoring record.
Wow. You cannot say enough about what this young woman from New Jersey is doing. I mean, she is up there with the greats of this college game already.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. Now the Vanderbilt men, they were a buzzer-beating, thrilling heave at the buzzer from beating Nebraska. Just rimmed out, was halfway down, and that would have sent both Commodores men's and women's teams to the Sweet 16. Vanderbilt 4 minutes away from making it official. They have had a comfortable lead in this second half. Galvin loses the handle. The turnovers have come as a surprise, though. A Vanderbilt team that's been in control, but this fourth quarter, the turnovers are piling up. 5 of them.
Yeah,
that's something you can work on in the week between now and Fort Worth.
Exactly. If Vanderbilt hangs on here, there's certainly a couple of categories that I'm sure Shea Ralph is going to go to the film room on. The offensive rebounds have been a concern. The turnovers, they've gotten loose with the ball at times where they've had big leads. And that goes back to the conversation we had with her before the first game. And when they shockingly lost in the first round, their first game of the SEC tournament, she didn't see a good level of focus in the practices leading up to that. She was very pleased with the response in practice leading up to this NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that 15 days off between the quarterfinal loss in the SEC tournament to the opening round game on Saturday night. Those spirited practices resulted in a convincing win against High Point and carried over to a second round matchup against Illinois. Foul on the floor will stay Vanderbilt ball. You know, they started the season 20-0, best start in program history, got all the way to the 1 line in a projected bracket. But then 7-4 in the last 11, and highlighted with that quarterfinal loss in the SEC tournament. Blake's quick release, couldn't connect. Illinois upping the tempo. Galvin letting this clock tick down to 3 minutes. Vanderbilt fans have waited since 2009 to see their team back in the Sweet 16. What's another 3 minutes? Brown Hager right to the rim, couldn't finish it. Sasha Washington inside, gets the bucket. Vandy goes up by 20. Weber misfires from 3. Blake's the rebound. But Shea Ralph has emptied her bench. They're waiting to check in. Blake's is fouled and will come out of this game with 25 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. What an incredible performance.
The stats actually just updated to give her 1 more rebound, so it was so close to a triple-double for Michaela Blakes.
What a reception here at Memorial Gymnasium, where Vanderbilt will finish the season undefeated en route to a trip to the Sweet 16. A huge ovation for Michaela Blakes, and rightly so, as Galvin shows off the handles. And while the crowd was giving Blakes all the love, Shea Ralph with an extended hug with Sasha Washington. This will be her final game in Memorial Gymnasium, a 5th-year senior. Ralph told us yesterday Washington was her first phone call when she took the Vanderbilt job in 2001. Washington was the top recruit. Ralph sold her on a vision to stay with her commitment. 5 years later, that dream has become a reality.
you see the emotion here from Sasha Washington. We had an incredible chat with both her and Coach Shea Ralph at the same time yesterday. And Sasha Washington interjected to tell us, Coach Shea Ralph saved my life. She's the reason I'm here right now. She said, I was ready to walk away from this game. I was ready to quit. And Coach Shea Ralph kept me going. We were tearing up during that conversation yesterday. What an incredible relationship between the two. I would imagine there's always going to be a home for Sasha Washington here at Memorial Gymnasium if she wants one.
And you watch Vanderbilt play in the year 2026, and it's easy to see, okay, they're one of the best teams in the SEC. They're one of the best teams in the country. But when Shea Ralph took over 5 years ago, it couldn't have been further from the truth. It was just a vision that Ralph had, and the buy-in she has gotten from players like Sasha Washington, who's played in every single game or been on the bench floor that Ralph has coached here at Vanderbilt. To get her to see the fruits of her labor here in year 5, it sent her team to the Sweet 16. Remarkable. Yeah,
Washington actually had to miss all of last season with a medical condition, so it's been a silver lining that she still has eligibility to play this season. And I love what Coach Shea Ralph said. Her joy was the same on year 1 when we were last in the SEC as it is right now.
Jackalenga Moinenton out as well, another player that took a leap of faith. She's spent 3 years at Texas. Had a good chance to win a national championship there this year had she stayed, but went to Vanderbilt for a different role, and she has fit right in.
And hey, she could still win a national championship here now as a Vanderbilt Commodore. And talk about an important player to have on your roster as you're looking to make a deep run in March. She's really the only one on the roster that's been in those situations before. She was in the Final Four last season.
Illinois continues to battle on. Jasmine Brown-Hager, the steal of the score. Now, this is a Fighting Illini program with an extremely bright future. The youngest team in the 68-team tournament field. Her 3rd trip to the NCAA tournament since taking over 4 years ago. They might just be 1 year behind Vanderbilt on a very similar trajectory.
Yep, two coaches in Shea Ralph and Shauna Green that have done incredible work in a small amount of time. Young talent who are forgoing programs that are already very established and taking chances on building something.
Trinity Wilson with a huge roar from the Memorial Gym faithful.
Brown-Hager continues to fight for this young Fighting Illini team that'll most certainly be back in these postseason situations for years to come if this really talented young core stays together.
Jackson continuing the battle on. Misses the layup. And Vanderbilt 25 seconds away from making things official. Here in Nashville, it has been a historic season.